Now, crime rates continue to rise in the country, and rolling blackouts have people on edge. UK's at ends Mary De Haas blames this on poor policing and mismanagement. She says it runs from the National Commissioner's office all the way to station level. In an opinion piece, De Haas says nepotism and corruption is rife in the SAPS. The professor joins us now to discuss this a bit further. Professor, good morning and thank you very much for your time. Now, when some others want to attribute crime levels to a range of issues, you say there may be other reasons, but fundamentally it's what you term atrocious policing. Talk to us about this.
Look, I mean, obviously, socioeconomic conditions play a part in crime, but constitutionally, and people are just forgetting we're a constitutional democracy, it is the job of the police to prevent crime as well as to deal with it. I mean, we focus on patrols and detectives and that sort of thing, but they are supposed to prevent it. Now, to do that, you've got to have a good crime intelligence system. I mean, why do you think July 21 happened? The blame is with the Minister of Police because of lack of intelligence, politicisation of police, lack of capacity, lack of even enough members in POP, malfunctioning equipment. In a democracy, that police minister would have had the grace to resign, or he would have been fired, but he wasn't fired. Now, it starts with him. We're on about, well, you know, the minister, the president, we're blaming him for Parla, but he's to blame for keeping this man as Commissioner of Police. Because this man, the Commissioner of Police, breaks his oath of office with impunity. Mm-hmm. And he is a danger to the country because he is running the police. He's not just the minister, he runs the police. Now, if you look at the top management of the police, it's corruption across. I mean, I've drawn attention to the fact that his sidekick from the days where they were together in KZN is the National Commissioner. He's just appointed a man with no intelligence experience whatsoever, who was a disaster when he was in operational response. He was a disaster when he was heading the Ministerial, the grossly irregular Ministerial team. I deal with police all the time, trying to get protection for people, to follow up cases. Some of them sound barely literate. And that is because people are buying their way into police training. So, I mean, we need radical action. Look, can I just say, everybody's preoccupied with eSCOM. Yeah, that is the crucial thing. But we would not have these problems in eSCOM to the extent we do if the police were doing their jobs.
You're dealing with corruption.
Organised sabotage teams. So it's right across the board.
Mm-hmm. So then what in your research have you found is really at the heart of this rot? Because when you write, you say that, you know what, it starts at the top with the National Commissioner all the way down to the lowest ranking officer. What has led to this?
Look, it's been going on for years. I mean, I did research in the 90s. There was a lot of resistance to transforming the apartheid. That's right. But we lived too long for a few years. The real rot set in 2009 when Clearly was National Commissioner. And Zuma, I mean, that was when the intelligence services were utterly corrupted. They weren't good before that, including in state security. A lot of the problems we're dealing with now, like Bashani, were appointments at the time of Fair. They quickly promoted each other. I mean, the national management of the police at the moment are largely Ace Magashule people. They got there through their support for Zuma and Ace Magashule. Right, politicisation. We had political cadres deployed in the police. They still are. They just get appointed. Ordinary, decent serving policemen are discriminated against, dismissed for trivial reasons. The new guys who are politically correct get promoted. So you've got a completely corrupt management in most places, with exceptions. I mean, there are some good guys there, but there's been just a complete political takeover.
And those good guys are being discouraged ever so often, Professor.
They're not independent.
And those good guys, I must say, that constantly at the police stations, they're saying they're actually demoralized at this point because they're constantly criticized when the real issue is under-resourcing, which has led to the poor response to crime scenes, for them at the very least. That they always say they wish they could have the opportunity. You can continue, Professor.
I am. I'm here. I mean, look, that's part of the problem. It's bad management. If there was proper management, they would be properly resourced. Look at the irregular expenditure. Look at the millions that have been spent on transporting the minister around when he should be sitting in his office. We have reports that should have been implemented, including in 2018, about the intelligence services and about the policing. Post-Marikana, there should be a policing board dealing with appointments and promotions. There should be demilitarization of police as per the National Development Plan. The minister should not be appointing police. I mean, it's completely irregular. It's like apartheid. We are basically heading to apartheid. And then my point in this article that you're citing is that it's Parliament. I mean, Judge Zondo himself has said state capture happened because of lack of parliamentary oversight. The Parliament's not doing its job. I mean, I was trying to send a wake-up call that if we're not careful, we're going to be right back. I mean, we talk about now there's a focus on TRC people who died in police detention. Over 200 people die every year in police custody in South Africa. Torture is right. I deal with torture cases, abuse cases. They go in with balaclavas on. What sort of police is this? But the good guys are suffering, the ones who want to do their jobs, because they don't have resources. They have management, which is completely, I mean, there's a case in the Free State. A manager, a line manager sent in a team under a unit commander to deal with a crime scene that the unit commander knew he didn't have the resources for. But he could not appeal above the line manager because the last guy who did that was dismissed for insubordination. He reluctantly goes into the crime scene, and of course, as he thought, they did not have the firepower. A young police member who was like a son to him died in his arms. That's bad management, just like lack of resources, lack of proper training. We have a crisis in policing. It affects everything, from sabotage of water infrastructure to sabotage of Eskom. It's a complete ruination of the intelligence services and the police. And I'm trying to say to people, do something about it. I mean, if Ramaphosa does not remove Fairley from, I mean, it wouldn't matter if Fairley were a minister that did what ministers are supposed to do. Sitting in his office, making sure policies implemented, making sure the reports post-Marikana, he's not. He's running around doing the job of the commissioner or the police themselves. Now,
but he could argue easily that you have communities, apologies for interjecting there, but he could argue in most instances that there are communities that demand to see the minister, that when the commissioner comes, they say, but this one, we want Minister Tkale to come and attend to. So in most of these imbizos, you find him present because communities would have said, we want to tell him exactly what we experience down here with these particular police stations or even the station commander.
He can do that without running the police himself. I mean, and he does nothing, I can tell you. When he was NEC in this province, working with Masemola, the general, there was paramilitary training going on, he did nothing. He promoted the woman who was facilitating it to be the provincial commissioner. Policemen would say to me, we're desperate, we need action taken. We've been to the NEC, he does nothing. It's all show. It's all show.
So what do we do now? Because the parliamentary oversight is also one big issue. Even the Zondo Commission report spoke extensively about this, that there needs to be better oversight. But in the absence of that, what do we do?
Well, we start with, I think we start, every political party should be playing its role. I'm very disappointed in opposition parties. They're scoring points instead of tackling the real problems. They could do far more than they're doing on the portfolio committee. Okay, what we need, basically, we need the removal of this man, because if Ramaphosa does not remove him, he does not care about the safety of South Africans. But we need far more than that. We need a proper audit. of the police. We need an audit of qualifications, a type of forensic audit of people's qualifications. A lot of them are probably crooked. We have a lot of that. We need an audit from starting with management about whether they're qualified for the job. And it is possible to do this. This is how the whole Pashlani thing happened. Ironically, it was the commissioner at the time who came after Fairley, the one who was what was she called, Pierre. She responded to police complaints and established a proper forensic audit. And that is how some of this corruption was exposed, that eventually, in the laboratory, and that eventually led to the charging of Pashlani. Now, we need that desperately. We need to check on appointment procedures. You can't have a minister just overriding and appointing people himself. It's completely irregular. I'm talking now about the Constitution. We are ignoring the Constitution. And we've got to get back and say that we're South Africans. Thousands of people died for the Freedom Charter, for the Constitution. We can't let ministers get away with trashing it because they are trashing it, starting with Fair.